tell me what it was like being in the corner with your boy Usyk at Tottenham. It was we watched, and it was one of the best heavyweights, most intense heavyweight fights in a long time. And like me and Ian were looking at each other like, who do you have that to? We're like, Usyk. I've got it like 7-5. I've got it 8-4 now. And then we're waiting for the decision, and both of us were like, they're gonna do him dirty. They're gonna do him dirty. And then, to be fair, tell me you wasn't shitting yourself in the corner.
Well, I'm not sure what I was worried.
Mm.
I was worried because prior to that, Campbell Hatton had gone on, and everyone had said I didn't see the fight, but everyone had,
Campbell won every second of every minute of that fight, and he
I
knew
didn't.
that.
So I don't know, but everyone was saying, "Oh, that was a bad." I said, "What happened?" And you getting worried. I was a little bit concerned with the British judge. That
Yeah.
had me because he had it by 1 point to Usyk, and I thought, and he gave us the last round, which means
Mm.
if we didn't win it, we would have lost the fight on
Yeah,
his card. So that has to get you worried a little bit. But
for sure.
as an event, it was just a monstrous event, and I was thrilled to be part of it. And yeah, everyone asked me, wow, what was that like? Were you nervous? And I didn't. It was like that's exactly where I was meant to be, and that's the corner I was meant to stand in, and
Yep.
do the work that I was supposed to do, and I treated it as such. And I try to tell fight the cornermen that I work with, you know, don't be a fanboy.
Yeah.
We have a job to do, and you would be surprised. And I'm not going to begin to name names or whatever, but you would be surprised at how many people cannot fulfill that role of being a corner man and doing their job and removing themselves from being the guy's friend, and
Mm.
he's my friend and I'm a fan, like it's what am I should I be quiet?
No, 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 no. I'm talking to my daughter.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Baby, change your pajama bottoms and go back to bed, please. I asked you to be really good for me while I'm doing this. Come on,
That's
no,
okay.
no. I love you. Okay,
Night.
please.
He's talking to you, Russ.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. No, Russ, if there's any sort of hand gestures, I'm doing it to someone else. Sorry, dude.
I thought he was telling me, Shruz, don't say too
No,
loud.
that would be rude.
I wasn't
Sorry,
naming
you,
names,
you,
was I,
you.
Ian?
No, 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 no. Right. So you're saying don't be a fanboy, basically. You'd be surprised how many people.
You'd be surprised how many people are working world championship contests
Mm.
and are so wrapped up and so nervous and and they're yelling and screaming the minute the bell goes, like
Yeah.
relax, man. The fight just started. Like you got a professional here who knows what he's doing, you know. So and when work needs to be done, you
Mm.
need to focus on the work, all the things that have to be done in the corner. And so many people don't do it. And I'm proud to say that there are a few guys that I work with that I really love working in the corner with, and that they're a Formula One pit crew.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I like working best with real pros. But sometimes you get guys coming in that have no business to be in that corner, and you hope that nothing goes wrong, because if you need them,
Mm.
forget it. They're not going to be of any service. They're going to be all wrapped up.
Do you think that's a product of like a veteran like yourself, who's like a devout industry guy? Everyone, you'll get called over to do someone's hands. You'll be, the cut man. You're multifaceted in that. With those maybe younger trainers, are they like hinged onto a single talent that if this goes wrong, that potentially damages the old income quite considerably, or just inexperience?
I think a lot of it is just either inexperience or, in more cases, an unappreciation of what it means to be a good cornerman.
Mm.
This used to be an art. This used to be something that was reveled in, of how good you were. That you surround. If you look back, when you look back and I'm not going back old days. I'm just going back to like the 80s. Which might be ancient for some people, but doesn't seem to be that long ago for me. And you look at guys like, Roberto Duran, who had Eddie Futch and who had Ray Arcel and Freddie Brown in his corner. When you look back at Ray Leonard, who had Angelo Dundee in his corner, when you look back at Tommy Hearns, who had, Emmanuel Stewart in his corner, when you look back at Larry Holmes, who had Eddie Futch in his corner, or whatever, and you realize they understood the importance of a corner, the importance of having the wisdom of how to handle a corner, how to work a corner, who's doing what. Everything is synchronized. This guy's got the mouthpiece. This guy's got the bottle. This guy's got this. This guy's got the Vaseline. Boom, boom, boom. And seconds out, ding, ding, ding. All of a sudden, all the parts are working again. Mouthpiece goes back in. Trunks are back in. The wife, he pulled trunk. Okay, thank you. Last minute instructions. Whoop, everyone's out. And the ring is cleared right away. Now it just seems like it's a bloody free-for-all, and the commission say, come on, get out, clear the corner. Who's doing what, who's bringing water. It just seems that there's an unappreciation. And, like so many fighters want to make their friends happy, that they say, oh, you can come work in my corner, you can come. And that gives them a ringside seat. That's what they have a towel or a water bottle on their shoulder. They're standing there in the corner, and it's a job, man. You hope that your guy doesn't need your services, because it could be the difference between winning or losing the fight of how good the corner can be. So I don't know, maybe it's just me over exaggerating.
No, but also too, like, I know every fighter is different and some respond to different things, but sometimes you see the corner just shouting and it's like, you've got a minute to get across concise information. You see it like wasted so often. And I mean, not going into things, but that fight was a very striking distance whenever they'd cut to the corners on what was being said in one corner and what was being said in the other, like tactics and just almost like cheerleading. And sometimes Bud is a great example in the last one when he's like, I'm down going into the 10th. He's like, what? And then he went out and said, sometimes things like that. And Mayweather, personally, Mayweather is very hinged on himself. So I think it will take a while for the coaching thing and promoting thing to really take off for him, because he's used to being the show. But the one thing when he went up to Tank and was like, listen, you're down, and then Tank did the same sort of thing. Sometimes you really need that. Like you said, it's not just about having your friends there and saying, yeah, that's amazing. If it's not amazing, you've got 1 minute to hear, change it up. What do you need to do? Not just, oh yeah, keep doing that. We'll let you out the cage in a few rounds. It's priceless, that minute.
Yeah, and I think you raised some very good points of the tactics and the cheerleading and how calm a corner can be. And a perfect example was, with Crawford. I thought he was down ever so slightly, but I thought he was down going into and when he looked at, I'm down. Yeah, it was, you weren't winning all the way. I mean, the judges ended up having him ahead by, I think, 1 point on 2 cards and 2 points on another, which is still relatively close. I might have been the other way, favoring Porter, but it's approximately where it was. The fight was still in the balance. Let's put it that way. The fight was still in the balance, and could have gone to Porter. And very calm. Boom, boom, boom. Went out, did his thing. I think these things are important in a fight game. Of how calm you are, how you handle the corner, how you do your job. I think that's always going to prevail over mayhem in the corner. And I try to do that. I try to make sure that, our corner is efficient and that you have everything you need. And I guess that's what it does. Like I said, there just been a certain time where there was a pride in preparing the corner properly. And now maybe I'm just more critical, but I just see how it's not, you have no idea the amount of times where I have had, and I'm not going to name names now. Maybe I'll name it in my book one day, but not now, where I have had world-class trainers ask me to borrow my bucket, ask me to borrow my this, because they don't have it with them. What were you coming here for? Like, when you came here, what did you think you were going to need, And so, yeah.
So from the corner perspective in the fight, at what point was there a point where you was like, this is in the bag?
No,
there wasn't, all the way till the end. Like even when you started to see Usyk starting to land shots that were moving AJ, and he was seemingly completely in control of the situation. It was very we've said that, to be fair, that was a very good performance from AJ. He was holding his own with one of the best boxers that there's ever been.
That
but like Luke Campbell and Loma, Luke did well for 45 seconds. Loma had the rest of the round.
I think people were too quick to almost yeah, they were like just shitting on AJ. It's like that disrespects Usyk. It's like AJ gave a really good account of himself. Like AJ doesn't know.
That's what I thought, Ian, which is why I said I never thought it was in the bag, because I thought this chess match that he's playing, is turning into a chess match, like especially after 8 rounds, it was relatively even after 8, like it was relatively close after 8. And now you say, oh, he took the last 4. Okay, but we didn't know how they were scoring them. If they go if the judges go 2-2 in the last 4, which is they're very easily capable of doing,
Yeah.
we're in a draw or we lose the fight. You know what I mean? So I'm very, when I'm in the corner, it's so important for me for my guy to be dominant, to be dominant in there, that I win the round. This past weekend, I was in the corner of Jessica Kamara. She fought Callie Reese. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, we're winning this fight. We're winning the fight. And then when the scores are announced, we weren't even in the fight. It's like we didn't even show up. And I know I'm not that bad of a judge. I know I'm not that bad. So it's sometimes I always err on the side of caution, thinking, no, we didn't do enough. No, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. Like they asked me in the corner, you think we got it? I said, we should, but who knows what they're gonna. There's 70,000 people in here screaming for this guy, So, but I agree with you. I think that AJ put up a better performance than people think. I think he decided to say, okay, let's play chess with this guy. Let's get into, you can never beat him that way. Well, that's easy to say after the fact. But I think the other way, going for broke and throwing a Hail Mary and
too risky,
completely out of gas after 6 rounds, the defeat might have been even more catastrophic. And if I understand correctly, AJ, now I'm not always a big fan on these punch stats that they give you, but that he threw more punches in this fight than he's thrown in any fight that he's had. Right. I don't know if that was correct. Ian, is that correct?
He was exhausted.
It might be. It sounds like it probably would. Because it was a very different AJ, and it was like the thing is, against anybody else, and that's what we said straight after when we did the wrap up, that version of AJ really gives problems to a lot of people, but it's just Usyk is that good. It's you can't deny, like, he brought his A+ game, and just on the night it wasn't enough. You can't, there's no people like, oh, he needs this, he needs that. It's like he showed improvement, which for a long time, like, I'm not gonna talk trash at all, but from a pure skill perspective, I think he's a specimen, and he could do so much. And that's why this fight to me was great, because he showed, oh shit, there is actually more in the bag. There's more to come. Whereas a lot of time, if you stand in front of him, he'll knock you out. And Usyk was never going to be that guy. So it was interesting to see how it all unfolded.
And Usyk also hurt him early.
Yeah, that also too, that game plan goes out. If his thing was, I'm going to storm forward, I was about to say he felt that touch, and it was like, when he felt that, and the ease that Usyk was getting position early rounds, was like, this is a long night for him. And when we did it live, we were doing 2 scores, especially after Campbell. We were like, okay, we'll do what we think, and then absolutely worst case, like,
you do your opinion, and then you put yourself in the position of someone maybe on payroll, and you're like, could I have it this way? Just about, and I've got enough to argue.
All right. On this one, we got to we're going to give it to him. Even then, we were like, okay, no, this is a done deal. And it was terrible. We were still like so surprised and happy that they gave a right call. We were like, it shouldn't be like this, but thank fuck it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure this must happen in football over there, but in hockey over here,
you're telling the wrong people. Yeah.
When the home team, when Montreal Canadiens lose a game, they always say how bad the Canadians played on the night and how they got beat, but they never mention the other team that was there who might have played very, very well. And I know they did the same thing when Jean Pascal fought Boutte. Everyone said, "Oh my God, Boutte didn't show up." And Boutte. Well, do you think it had anything to do with the fact that, Pascal was firing leather back at him? So people seem to forget that there's another guy in the ring, and we focus on what one guy should have done, but sometimes the other guy prevents you from doing it. And you were talking earlier about the corners and Mayweather, and I wanted to say this. When Mayweather was the fighter, that corner with Rafael Garcia and Roger, that was a very smooth, efficient, unpanicked, nice transition corner. You know, like it worked well. And I noticed these things. I've been noticing these things since I'm 18 years old, of how cornermen work and the difference in how they conduct themselves. And so I see a lot of that stuff, but I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, there's a beautiful clip too when Senior took over. I think it's his last fight with, last proper fight with Berto, where he's talking and Floyd, I think, is looking away or something. He's like, Floyd, you're not listening. And he says exactly, he's like, yeah, pop to the head, down to the butt. And it's like, that's amazing that, like, clearly it's in the bag, but he's still completely cognizant of what's being said. I was like, yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
That's how a champion does it.
I just think that, you know, we have to give a little bit of reverence to the work that's done in the corner and what the cornermen do. We have to stop treating it like it's a free ticket for my friend that I can just get him licensed with any commission and he can work the corner, you know. And I think it's unfair that we don't treat the profession with the reverence it deserves. What he showed, he did exactly in the fight what he did in camp. But if you tell me he looked great in camp and he was crushing guys in sparring, hurting them, and then that showed up, well, then I think Jean Pascal played a big role in that. So same thing with the Usyk. Unless you were in AJ's camp, unless you know what went on, I don't think you can offer up an opinion, because it's just an opinion, right? It's based on absolute zero fact on whether he should change. I've always liked Rob. I think he's a good trainer. I think in the Klitschko fight, I think he brought AJ back from the dead in the Klitschko fight, because it almost looked like AJ was ready to go. And when he came back to the corner, he calmed him down. He allowed him to recuperate, you know, and he says, we'll get him back. And then AJ started getting right back into the fight to then score a late knockout. So I'm a Rob McCracken fan. I think he's a pro's pro. But I don't know what goes on in the camp of how much say he has or how much say other people have, which are just different messages. So I don't know. I can't speak on it.
Okay. Now for the rematch, do you see, again, I know it's really hard to like step out of your position but retain everything that you know. Can you see it going any other way than I understand that AJ's always dangerous. He's huge. He's a power puncher. He's fast. He's getting better by the day. All this other stuff. But like for myself, full disclosure, I want AJ to win the rematch because I like the idea of the trilogy. I love Usyk. Usyk is right. Where's he gone? He's right there. Bosh. But I'm a Brit, you know, and we went from having all the titles to one in the flash of an eye, and it doesn't matter how good of a fight it was. I want that rematch to be AJ's. Do you? Hey.
Well, that's good. Okay, we know where Rob is. Can't bring him out to dinner anymore now. So.
That's fine. Some of those Ukrainian gang members that you hang around with, I still have nightmares about them, to be honest. The one with the green hair and the questionable man bag. Every time I close my eyes, I see that guy. Anyway,
listen, like I said, I will never enter a fight with anybody and think that it's a foregone. I mean, at that level, that it's a foregone conclusion, and especially somebody like AJ. So I'm taking it, like I said, it's as serious as a heart attack. So please don't think that I myself personally would be underestimated. And I certainly don't believe that Usyk will be underestimating it, because if Usyk is to be successful again, it's going to once again require a Herculean effort on his part in terms of the physical output that it's going to take for him to get into fifth gear, sixth gear, seventh gear, you know, keep finding those gears, because that's what prevails for him against fighters, is that when they're in fifth gear, he's still in second.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he finds third. He finds fourth. Then you're on even par. You're revving in fifth gear, and he's still at 3,000 RPMs. Like, no problem. Then he finds 6 and 7 and 8, and he has more gears in his gearbox than I've ever seen a fighter, especially of his size. It's always impressed me how Loma can set such a pace. But everyone forgot about the pace Usyk sets, and he's a heavyweight. I don't care what you say about cruiserweight. Back in my day, that was a heavyweight. You know, and for a heavyweight to do that kind of pressure, you know, and make you fight. Even when he's not throwing punches, he's making you work when you don't want to work, and you can't rest. You can't grab him. You can't hold him. You can't rest. You know, I think this is why I think also that anybody who thinks that a Fury win over Usyk is a foregone conclusion, remember what Russ said.
I like the finger.
Yeah.